on the 1 yard line with their backs against the wall. This ain't a game to me. If you think it's a game, get the off of this bus. Look at this. Oh, they're rushing here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back to the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Carter.
And I'm your host, Cody Vanciolo.
Cody, it was a weekend in college basketball, especially in Ames. Unfortunately, we're going to do the women's basketball first. Women's basketball, unfortunately, fell to Baylor 72-70 at home in Ames. That was the women's whiteout game. Cody, I'd love to have your thoughts and recap of this game.
Yeah, obviously I was there in person. I got to go to the game on yesterday, so it was a really good atmosphere. Like, I will say that Iowa State women's basketball always has like a good atmosphere in terms of women's basketball, but this one was especially really good. Obviously the whiteout, and then you're bringing in a top 25 team in Baylor, and Iowa State we know what Baylor brings in women's basketball, so we kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into, and what obviously was on the table early on the Big 12 race in terms of like the conference championship race. And this was going to be like one of those games where like you win this one, you get a leg up in the title race, and that's pretty much what this game was. And I mean, it went right to the end. It was back and forth between Baylor and Iowa State, and obviously Iowa State's not able to get that last playoff, and in that short, that was just a heartbreaking loss, and obviously that ends Iowa State's undefeated start to the year. So, I mean, looking at the game as a whole, Baylor did a really good job at shutting down Audie Crooks in the second half. They came out with a really good game plan, and it worked. And I think a lot of teams are going to try this, where they're going to just double somebody, they're going to double Audie Crooks, and they're going to leave Jada Williams wide open, because Jada Williams, she had 28 points, which was higher than Audie Crooks, but her three-point shooting was left to be desired because they left her open. They just let her stay wide open. And there were times where she didn't take a shot because I think she was maybe in her own head, maybe overthinking. And that's the thing that tends to happen with a lot of basketball players when they just see how much space they have. They're thinking about extra things that they usually wouldn't think about normally when they're guarded by somebody. And I think that kind of played a factor psychologically into the game of Jada Williams. And for sure, that's something that I was really kind of disappointed. Maybe I wish he took a couple more of those shots, but I understood the psychological part of it. And then just something that really shocked me was just how bad, this was Addie Brown's worst game as a Cyclone. Only 2 points in the game. She wasn't really hunting her shot. So I think that's just another testament to the game plan and the defensive scheming of Nikki Collin and Baylor. So they did a really good job at limiting both Audie and Addie Brown relatively, and just Iowa State was just not able to adjust, and that's just something that Iowa State has to be able to adapt to and adjust and learn and study and film study. But I mean, Audie Crooks said it best in the post-game presser. You don't want to be a monster in January, you want to be a monster in March, and I kind of like that. I mean, I just took away from that. I was okay, this game, it's okay, you took a lump, you took a home loss, which you wouldn't. Because, I mean, I think coming in the game, Iowa State was a 6.5-point favorite. But, I mean, sometimes a loss like this, it'll stick in, I don't want it to, turn into, something that, you think about all the time and, you get in your own head about. But I'm hoping the ladies use this as, a way to come in and practice, with an extra chip on their shoulder and a different level of intensity, and it unlocks a second gear, and we will get to see an opportunity for that to potentially happen on Wednesday. But really fun game. But in terms of the Big 12 race, outside of Iowa State's kind of in the back foot. They are behind the 8 ball a little bit because they're not going to get too many more of these ranked opponents, and their next one isn't until they got to go down to Lubbock, Texas to take on Texas Tech January 28th. So Iowa State, if they want to stay in the race for the Big 12, they got to pick up they got to steal a road win against either TCU or Texas Tech. But I mean, there's still a lot left for the women's team, so this is kind of a setback, and I'm hoping this setback motivates the team to get better, get better at their flaws. And I think we're showing that if Jada Williams can hit those threes on a more consistent level, that unlocks something. And I like that. I like the potential that we have there with her volume shooting.
Yeah, man. They always say a minor setback sets up for a major comeback. So we're gonna see what these girls are made of. On the other side, the men continue to stay hot. On Friday night, Iowa State was able to win and pull away. Basically, they control the entire game, and they won by 21 points over the West Virginia Mountaineers, 80-59.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for Iowa State, obviously this is the conference opener, and it was a pretty packed house even for a not so great opponent, and it's a nice break for Iowa State fans, especially for the students, to not have to come back early and miss out on a marquee game during winter break, because the last 2 years we had Houston over winter break during that snowstorm, and then we had Kansas last season, so it's a nice change of pace to have these I mean, obviously the Big 12 is always going to be the Big 12, but kind of have these your subpar opponents in the Big 12, the ones that don't really scare you on paper, and to come out, and so it was nice. I mean, here West Virginia, they started out hot. I mean, they couldn't miss a shot, and I love how that's an old trope for every Iowa State fan. They're like, oh great, of course this team just starts shooting hot against us. What were your thoughts when you saw that the first 10 minutes or so? What were you thinking in your head?
It was oh God, here we go. This team is just maybe this team isn't what I thought. All the negative thoughts started to come in, but hey, maybe that's what this team is. It takes them a while to warm up, but as you see, always there's the first 5 minutes they always will go through that little bit of a rut, and then they ended up figuring it out, and they just pushed on the gas. Man, it's time to start really having conversations about Milan Momcilovic, dude. Milan Momcilovic is shooting 56% from the field, from three.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard a crazy stat. I forgot where I heard it from, but basically it was saying that even if he were to miss his next 40 shots, he still would be shooting over 40%. Which that is absolutely insane. And I heard that he also went to a sports psychologist this past summer. And he has a certain code word that he uses. I think it's jelly bean that he uses, and just he has all the confidence in the world right now, and we're truly seeing the fruits of his labor paying off.
Yeah, I think this was the level up that we wanted to see out of Milan Momcilovic. If Iowa State was gonna go from a team who was a contender in the Big 12 constantly, and is right there to actually actually winning the Big 12, and then maybe getting past the Sweet 16, getting to an Elite Eight or the Final Four, you needed a guy you needed Milan to really step up and evolve as a player, and he's done exactly that. And the 56% shooting, that isn't just his actually he's shooting it with volume, because you can sometimes see that guys will shoot it at an efficient rate, but maybe they're not shooting it in a high volume. But Milan Momcilovic is doing exactly that. He's shot He's 103, so he's taking 103 threes. So that's the volume. If he can, I don't know. I'll see how long this goes for. But if somehow, some way, Milan can keep up this sort of level of shooting with the volume that he's shooting at, he's gonna be he's gonna raise his draft stock a little bit higher, because I think I heard that he was coming into this year maybe as a second day, a late second round pick, but now he could potentially put himself in the late first round, early second. And then talking about NBA draft prospects, Joshua Jefferson, I think he's earned himself, he's starting to earn himself into maybe a lottery pick with the way that he's moving the ball around. And I mean, he had the perfect triple double: 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. And you could just tell, at the end of, in the second half, he really wanted to get that 10th assist, and go figure, he goes to Milan Momcilovic for it. So it was a perfect storm. So, and I mean, we look at this, and even we saw one of the things that as well is we got to see Killian Torrey really. This was like his first like real like freshman moment. He looked like a freshman. Like this is the first time he looked like one. 0.06 shooting, but you still had his defense. You can trust on that. And then Taman Lipsey had a quiet 12 points and I believe 5 rebounds or 5 assists. So he's contributing even at a quiet pace. But I think the player that like had really helped in that game and got some confidence is Jamarian Bateman, and that is a great sight to see.
Yes, man. He came off the bench with 2 threes. He's coming into his own, and I think he could definitely be in the a key piece in the season, especially by the time tournament time comes around. I think he's going to be one of a unsung hero for us. I think once we get into the conference tournament and the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then going back to like the West Virginia side of things, Honor Huff, I think, was the guy that I think we talked about like when we previewed this game was like he could have a like he's a guy we have to worry about. And I mean, Iowa State did a really good job of shutting him down. He only had 6 points on the day, shot 1 of 8 from 3, shot 1 of 9 from the field. So Iowa State did a really good job shutting him down. But I mean, early on you saw Trace and Eaglestaff and DJ Thomas hit a couple threes. So that was in the early stages of the game when like West Virginia couldn't miss. So saw something there, but I mean West Virginia was gonna like come in with they're gonna punch you in the mouth, and I think that kind of is more of a tale of like what's been the past month for Iowa State because they hadn't really played like an actual high caliber team since Iowa, and that was like 4 weeks ago prior to this game. So they were gonna come out a little bit sloppy because like they basically just like not need to do too much against these bye games of Eastern Illinois, Long Beach State, and Houston Christian. So maybe I was like to be expected, but yeah, they took care of business. When you win by 20 against a Big 12 opponent, that's always gonna look good. You win these games how you're supposed to win these types of games, and then the fashion they did, it's a great too because you didn't like barely slug out a win. You took it to them and you never looked back.
And I don't know if you saw this, Cody, but I think that Big 12 has no team in the Big 12 has a net under 100. So basically, anytime we play a Big 12 team, is going to be a quality win.
Even Utah? I think I heard I think they're the only team that might be like has a higher net ranking than 100.
Actually, you might be right.
Yeah, and that's just the unfortunate thing. Like Utah, I was like, it's just they are not that great of a team. I will like looking at their schedule, their roster, and how they've played, they haven't looked the greatest. But we could probably talk about them a little more when we talk about the Big 12 weekend, and maybe we could talk about some top 25 matchups that also happened over the weekend.
Yeah, let's go and take a look at that. We're gonna take a look at the Big 12 as a whole. We get the scores up, and then I'll share my screen.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, okay, sweet.
So,
all right.
So first, taking a look at the Big 12, we mentioned Utah. Yeah, Arizona goes into Salt Lake City, and they just dominate Utah 97-78. I mean, Arizona continuing to prove that they are I think I saw the betting odds. Arizona is the favorite to win the Big 12. But Iowa State's not too far behind. But when you do that, when you go on the road and you win in this fashion, yeah, I'm not surprised. So Arizona continues their claim as the number 1 team in the country. You talk about Jaden Bradley, Koa Pete, Braden Burris, and even Tobe Awaka. You had 5 guys all with double-digit contributions. So really liking what I see out of Arizona, and just really excited. I'm excited to see what they do. Obviously, Iowa State fans, we're going to have to wait till March, and hopefully that game's exciting when we get to Tucson on Big Monday on, I think it was March 1st or March 2nd, whatever. But yeah, Arizona just goes on the road and just dominates, do what they need to do, and they stay undefeated. This game right here, this game surprised me with how close this game was.
Man.
Houston goes on the road and beats Cincinnati 67-60. But I mean, at some point, there were points where Cincinnati could have pulled away, but just they weren't able to do it. I think it was their offense, but their defense is really good. They have a really good defense.
I'm telling you, they remind me of the early odds teams that were here. They have an elite defense, but a terrible offense. So basically relying on basically they try to play first 1 to 60 wins, but when you play a team like Houston who plays the exact same way as you,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be hard to stop a team like Houston.
Yep. And you look at Houston, your usual suspects on offense, Kingston Flemings and Milos Uzan, were really carrying the load like offensively. So those two guys contributed a lot on the offensive end. You got some like you spread out the ball a bit. Cincinnati, looking at Jizzle James's return, like his first game back, 1 of 7, 0 for 3 shooting. But I mean, Jizzle James is that kind of player where like he's either gonna put up 30 on your head or he's gonna put up a goose egg. So that's just the streakiness of Jizzle James, so I look out for that. Day Thomas, though, 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, and then Baba Miller, 4 of 7 for 11 points, and then Mustafa Tom, which I think we remember seeing at back in Orlando when he was at Central Florida.
He was an impressive guy. That is gonna be a matchup when Iowa State goes to Cincinnati in a few weeks. I will be going to that game in person, so very very excited about that.
Mm-hmm. Hopping over from Cincinnati to Manhattan, the BYU Cougars, they were in a bit of a dogfight against Kansas State. They ultimately win 83-73, but I mean Kansas State, they showed they have life, and I mean that it all starts with PJ Haggerty. Like that's the one guy that Kansas State can lean on to like really carry do a lot for them. And I mean 24 points for him, 8 of 16 shooting, and I mean they made that second half was like they made it interesting against BYU. So
oh yeah,
but I mean BYU ultimately is able to pull away, and I mean I'm looking at this here. Richie Saunders goes 3 of 11 from 3, knowing damn well he's gonna go like 9 of 10 from against us. I just know it's gonna happen. Like,
I swear, dude.
I'm like, all right, it's gonna happen. But I mean, BYU State gets a good win in Manhattan to start. AJ DeBansta, he just continues to really impress as a freshman. Like he's impressive to watch.
24 and 8, and then Robert Wright, the pickup from Baylor, he had 18 points. And then you have what's that?
Kebi Keita with a double-double, 11 points and 16 rebounds.
Man.
So I remember Kebi Keita, he gave us problems when we faced him in Ames and in Kansas City. So he gave us some problems, so he's got to look out for.
Yeah, not looking forward to when we had to go up to Provo that weekend at all.
Not at all. Texas Tech, they hosted Oklahoma State, and they win 102-80. So Texas Tech is I think they're starting to find their form. And you look at it here, this was probably the most balanced I've seen Texas Tech be. I mean, obviously not. I mean, they're not as deep as I'd like them to be, but you did see a good balance in this game. I mean, you look at JT Toppin with 23 points and 14 rebounds, but you look at this, all the starters all put up double-digit points. Christian Anderson and Juan Watts with 19, Donovan Atwell with 15, and Jalen Petty with 12. So, I mean, that starting lineup, this, I don't know, this kind of, who does this remind you of when you, your whole starting, a lot of your contributions are from the starters, and if one gets injured, they get screwed?
Last year's Iowa State team?
Yep. That's what this kind of feels like. This kind of feels like, last year's Iowa State team where if all of your starters are healthy, you have a chance of really winning, but one of them gets injured, and you're not the same team. So that's what this Texas Tech team is. Yeah,
man. Now they're running into form. I'll tell you this, Cody. I am very happy that we play Texas Tech at home and not at U.S. Supermarket Arena again. I still don't know how we won that game last year. That was insane.
Let's just say Joshua Jefferson and I would say Taman Lipsey.
Very true. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Taman Lipsey had a couple of timely threes, I believe. So I think and that was one of those panty second half comeback type of performances where we were able to hone it defensively and but this happened again, Tyler. Look at this happened again.
Cody, you called it, man. You called it, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew that that there was a chance of that this could happen, and UCF once again beats Kansas at home,
Yep.
81-75.
This is the second time in 3 years that Central Florida beats Kansas on their home court to start Big 12 play. I It happened again. You know, one thing that we found the one thing that threw me off about this game was the fact that Darren Peterson played 23 minutes, but the bulk of it, he played almost the entire first half, and then he barely plays in the second half. I think I saw an image from Heartland College Sports. They posted an image of Darren Peterson sitting at the end of the bench watching his team in the last few minutes while they're down and they need some scoring, and you would think you put Darren Peterson in that type of situation, but for whatever reason Kansas didn't, and as a result they lose. So I don't know what is going on with Darren Peterson.
Yeah, usually it's so weird to see KU struggle like this, but hey, maybe KU is just starting to become a shell of itself, and the invincibility has worn off. It's sort of it's sort of like with Space Jam. It's sort of like Houston basically took all their basketball winning abilities away, and they're like, yeah, it's ours now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was just an odd thing to watch. Central Florida. This has been a pretty solid. This is a really good year under Johnny Dawkins. So, really liking to see Central Florida put together this year so far, and they are gonna host some pretty decent opponents at home. I'm looking at their upcoming schedule. They host Arizona on January 17th, and then they'll host. And then 2 weeks from that day, it'll be hosting number 14 Texas Tech. So they have some opportunities for some good home wins.
Honestly, if they go 7-11 or 8-10, I could totally see them making it in. I think that's what it's going to take to get in the tournament.
Yeah, I look at their next 3 games. They're at Oklahoma State, they host Cincinnati, and then they're at Kansas State before they host Arizona. I think if they go 2-1, they could look pretty. They could be really solid before before they have to host Arizona and then head up to Ames to take on Iowa State on the 20th. So a couple winnable games for Central Florida coming up. So really interested to see how this Central Florida team comes up. And they just I saw the AP poll drop earlier today. They've entered it now. They're now the 25th ranked team in the country after that win against Kansas.
Oh, congrats UCF! Well,
Yeah.
very, very well deserved. Great season. Start at 12-1. We'll see if they can keep it up.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look at the national action because there was some action on this past weekend that we did miss.
We forgot a couple of other Big 12 games. So.
Oh shoot! Forgot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was a busy weekend in Big 12 basketball. Head to Tempe. Colorado gets a 95-89 win over Bobby Hurley's Arizona State squad. So Colorado and Arizona State kind of fighting to be in the middle of the pack. So I don't know if I can say too much about that, but hey, Colorado was trying to shake off that terrible loss to Northern Colorado. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Yep. So hey, starting with the road win in Tempe, pretty good for them. And then we get to TCU Baylor, and boy oh boy, this one had some interest. Obviously, with James Najee making his debut for Baylor, but it doesn't work out too well for the Scott Drew and company as TCU won that game 69-63. And I think I saw Baylor or TCU would boo James Najee anytime he had the ball, which I think is kind of poetic. But that Baylor and this kind of goes into maybe a quick preview of the Iowa State Baylor game. Obviously, Iowa State travels there on Wednesday, so I wonder how how would that play in the psyche of Baylor as they have to host Iowa State.
I think what Iowa State has to come in there and do, we talked about this, I think about 2 shows ago or 3 shows ago now, is that I even said, how is this team going to respond to adversity on the road? This is this is a team a mix, a full of mix with veterans and with young guys. Really excited to see how Killian Torre and Bateman, how they both respond. I'm really excited, and to see if Milan can, and if Milan struggles, who is going to be that guy that steps up? Is it gonna
Hmm.
be is it gonna be Torre? Is it going to be Taman? Is it gonna be Jefferson? It's gonna be exciting to see. It's gonna be a very tough matchup, but a great one at that.
Hmm. And I think, don't know if you mentioned Buchanan, but I'm curious to see maybe Buchanan
Yeah,
can have,
Buchanan. Yeah,
yeah, like his like what he brings to the table. It's perfect. Like it's the perfect storm for TJ. So, uh, heading to gonna take a look at like the national slate, and we're start Friday. Number 2 Michigan wins by 30 against number 24 USC. Michigan continuing to really just dominate teams and obviously cementing themselves as like a top 2 team. Like you can make the argument for Michigan or Arizona to be like the number 1 team. It just depends on how you look at those 2 teams, but an argument can be made for either of them to be number 1. But just the way Michigan just rolls teams, it's amazing. I mean, Morris Johnson Jr. with 29 points, very efficient shooting as well, 10 of 12, and then very
wow.
efficient at the free throw line. So volume shooting and very efficient at it. And then that was just from the stars, but this bench unit against USC, that is amazing. Like you would have 4 guys that can come off your
Holy
bench and put
cow.
up double-digit points. That shows just like the balance that Michigan has, and even Elliot Cadeau had a pretty solid stat line with 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists with 2 steals. So even Elliot Cadeau, like obviously remember him a little bit from his days in North Carolina, but it looks like he's found himself a nice role in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, very, very excited to see Michigan. Like we talked about, Michigan's schedule is pretty light. I Bleav it really they don't play anybody because they play Penn State, Wisconsin. What like they could have a chance to go unscathed until they play Nebraska at home on the
Hmm.
27th. That
Yeah.
one is going to be interesting. Nebraska continues to be impressive.
Yep. And we talk about Nebraska. We talk about Fred Hoiberg and Nebraska ball. They get an impressive win at home as they took down Michigan State to hand them their first loss in conference play. And Nebraska remains undefeated on the year. So, I mean, and this is, I Bleav, the first time that Nebraska since 1966 has entered the top 10 of the AP poll in men's basketball. So that shows the impressive work that Fred Hoiberg has done in Lincoln, and I mean the fruits of his labor. And I mean, I saw like a scout video of like how Nebraska plays defense where they have the no middle, and I saw an Iowa State fan tweet like, "I wonder who he learned this from," and it's just a photo of T.J. Otzelberger.
I love it.
Yep. And then looking at the breakdown of this here, Price, Price Sanford, former Iowa Hawkeye, had a pretty solid game with 13 points, 3 of 8.
Perfect.
Yeah, Rink massed 19 points, 6 of 13 from 3. So he's like the main scorer for them. But yeah, I mean that defense is nasty for Nebraska, and I mean it's very exciting. Obviously, somewhere some Iowa State guys like, okay, I'm kind of happy. Like somebody I think saw like tweeters like, who would have thought that both Iowa State and Nebraska would be top 10 and undefeated in basketball, and the 2 coaches for each program were Fred Hoiberg and T.J. Otzelberger.
I never would have thought that. You would have had to slap me in the face if you would have told
Mm-hmm.
me that.
Mm-hmm. Quick look at some mid-major action. Gonzaga survives against Seattle in overtime.
Oh,
Seattle, former University of shout out Branson Chatfield. Gonzaga had to like come back and survive because Seattle was leading it heading into halftime, and they gave Gonzaga a run. So Gonzaga remaining undefeated in West Coast Conference play, but yeah, they're gonna have to up their game a little bit. But I mean, I think maybe that shows more about like how good Seattle can be, and they might have
mm-hmm.
unlocked something. But we did have a bit of a shakeup on Friday. Stanford takes
Louisville
down.
lost to Stanford.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yep. This game was at Stanford, and looking at the score, like the box score here, I mean Stanford were just okay. They were pretty efficient. They were efficient from 3. Stanford went 9 of 19 from 3, which makes out to 47%. Louisville shot 6 of 27 which makes it out to be
Oh my God.
22%. Yep, and free throws. I mean, Louisville they kept themselves in the game, shooting 86% from the line versus 68% for Stanford. But yeah, that 3-point shooting was very important for Stanford to pull off this upset and get themselves a signature win in conference play. So that was Friday. We go to Saturday, and number 5 Purdue walks into Madison and just takes care of business against the Badgers of Wisconsin, 89-73. Braden Smith sets the Big Ten career assist record. I think he eclipsed the previous guy. I don't remember the exact number, but Braden Smith with a double-double, 14 points and 12 assists. So it's clear that, let's say, Purdue has clearly learned from what happened when Iowa State walked into their building and kicked their ass.
Yeah, like I said, that Iowa State game was going to be a blip on the radar, and they're going to go back to what they were, and that's exactly what happened.
Yep. Number 7 Duke survives a scare in Tallahassee as they edged. They got by Florida State 91-87. This was a game right to the end, and Florida State has had Duke's number in like the past, because I remember some of like Duke's losses at the top 10 team were to Florida State in Tallahassee. So Florida State seems to always give a top 10 ranked Duke team trouble in Tallahassee.
Sure. It's usually either them or North Carolina that they give trouble to. It never fails, but it just wasn't enough. Missouri gets a huge win on the road, or a huge win at home, as they upset Florida 76-74, and now Florida moves to 9-5 on the season.
Yep. Vanderbilt stays undefeated. They went to Columbia, took down South Carolina 83-71, and then we have another shakeup in the top 25.
Whoa.
What?
SMU destroys North Carolina.
Dude, I don't know if you saw that. You see that ankle breaker play on Caleb Wilson? That thing was nasty. I saw that. I'm like, oh, dear God. He sent him to the shadow realm on that one. That was just like, I have to go find that clip, but like, that was such a nasty ankle breaker. And of course, whenever you get that ankle breaker, you have to hit the three. You got to hit the shot after, and I'm glad he did. What a moment. That was just the cherry on top for SMU's convincing win over North Carolina. And the thing was, they ran away in the second half because it was tied up at halftime, 39 apiece, and then SMU runs away, scoring 58 points in the second half.
There you go.
Yep. Alabama gets an 89-74 win over Kentucky, so Alabama is cruising, and this one stings if you're Kentucky because like you had a really good opportunity. I think you were in this game, but you just couldn't But that first half, man, Alabama just put it on you in the first half, and they never looked back.
Yeah, Bama with a huge win on the road, and Bama likes to continue this in SEC play.
Oh no, Alabama hosted Kentucky.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Alabama. Sorry, hosting Kentucky.
Yeah. Arkansas, John Calipari continues winning. They beat Tennessee 86-75, and Arkansas is looking really impressive, looking to be one of the contenders in the SEC.
Man, what this is the game right here. It was a tough game in the first half, and Arkansas was able to withstand Tennessee and were able to pull away in the end.
Yeah, there's Acuff Jr. with 29 points in that game, so really big day for him. Illinois heads to Penn State, and they just squeaked by. They squeaked by against them 73-65. Virginia puts a whooping on NC State in the first half, and they never looked back. Like, do you want me to tell you the halftime box score?
Yes.
Virginia 40, NC State 20.
Wow.
So they shut down NC State in that first half, and they just never they never let off the gas. And we will tell you about a pretty thrilling game. Georgia and Auburn went into overtime, and man, the way that game went into overtime was nuts. I think the free throw shooter misses the free throw, or like he intentionally misses, and gets it out to the ball rolls to an Auburn player. He shoots it from the mid-range, a fadeaway shot, and that thing goes in to send that game into overtime. And this was right down the wire. But Georgia gets themselves a nice win against Auburn, and they are 1-0 in SEC play.
13-1 overall. Georgia looks to be one of those top teams in the SEC this year. And Iowa at Carver Hawkeye, I believe they also had a whiteout too.
Yep.
Pulls away as Bennett Sturts goes off for 27, and the Hawkeyes win 74-61 at home.
Yep. I mean, there was a ferocious comeback attempt by UCLA in this game. At one point, they cut the lead to 4 for Iowa, but Iowa was able to hold them off. Yeah, there were 2 times where UCLA was only down 4 to Iowa in the last 4 or 5 minutes of that game, but Iowa was just able to put the clamps on when they needed to, and they pulled away late. So big win, and obviously this is big for Iowa because I think they're starting to, like, maybe now with them, like, they could potentially find themselves to, like, finally being back to having a really nice men's basketball team, and the opportunity is there for them. I mean, look at tomorrow. They got to go to Minnesota, so a rivalry game, and then 2 ranked games against Illinois, and then at Purdue.
Both of those games are going to be crucial for them. If they can go one of 2, heck, maybe if they win both, that could definitely change the outlook on your season.
Yeah, that would be kind of funny. Imagine Purdue losing to both Iowa State and Iowa in the same year.
That would be insane.
I don't know. I don't know if that'll happen. I don't think Purdue's gonna make the same mistakes as they did against Iowa State. But
I think Purdue is locked in now. I don't think they lose anything stupid for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking. So I mean, yeah, this is the best part of the year for me. It's just the fact that, like, we have all this basketball going on. It's conference play. I am locked in. There's Big Ten basketball today. I'm also tune into that and sit on my couch and watch.
Might as well, since you got the time.
Yep. Man. Okay, so that's from basketball, but boy oh boy, you talk about being active. This transfer portal has been so active for the Iowa State football team.
It is safe to say, Cody, that JFR is cooking, baby. Like, I believe we got like 3 or 4 commitments yesterday, and the commitments have been coming in today. I think I have a lot of these, like, retweeted onto my page.
Yeah, I've also got, like, a portal tracker, so we can talk about some of the additions. So the recent additions that Iowa State has added in the past few days, we've added a couple of offensive linemen, so kind of like just going to list off, like, who Iowa State has added recently. Recently, Iowa State has added Caleb Schmidt, who is a Mid-Out State transfer. He's a safety, like, he's a secondary guy. And then we added linebacker Tristan Exling, who is an All-American D2 player. So really, like, it's really interesting to see the fact that we're, like, going the D2 route, but because, hey, they can't have ballers. You got to look at, like, what they do in the field, and, like, this could be exciting. I'm excited for some of these guys, like, bringing in. You bring in offensive lineman Gavin Proudfoot out of Northern Iowa, Masai King out of Akron, and then DeAndre Carter out of Auburn. So starting to get some of maybe Jake Thornton's guys, and might add a couple more. Iowa State also added cornerbacks Willie Breland, who comes out of the JUCO realm from Mississippi Gulf Coast College, and then Kenyon Washington out of Bowling Green, another corner, and then you added a wide receiver in Cody Jackson out of Tarleton State, and I think we added another guy from Tarleton State. Or was that the only guy?
I think that was the only guy. I have to look.
Okay. But then the big one that everybody was talking about when it happened, Jalen Rayner out of Arkansas State.
Man, that was a great pickup, and at least at this point, it gives you a solid QB room with Connor Moberly in there. I think the thing is, here, like, you have a healthy competition. Obviously, I don't think the coach is going to play favorites since Heckeldorf was the offensive coordinator for Jalen Rayner. It would make sense that Rayner is probably the starter, but we'll know. We'll probably know either in spring ball or in fall ball who's going to be the starting quarterback. So we still have a long way to go, but I see the vision. Also, I took a few notes I wanted to show that there are a few other visits this week that I wanted to list off um, from sources that I had. All right, so here are the notable ones. So we had two player visits on Saturday. We had Kyrie Scholes, a wide receiver from San Jose State, Blake Hawkins, who is a who is very very highly coveted from Iowa Western. Yesterday we had Gavin Brocious, offensive lineman from Michigan State. He's visiting Penn State next. We had Colin Amick, an offensive tackle from Montana. Braden Smith. Oh yes, you're right, Braden Smith, the Charleston State offensive lineman. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, you were right.
Okay.
So that's another guy that we're looking at. De'Arian Hicks, Gardner Webb. He is visiting today. We have Marvin Stringfellow Jr., Concordia St. Paul, D lineman. He visits tomorrow. Dane Arnett, from Ferris State, visits tomorrow. Evan Boyd, another receiver we're looking at in the receiver room at Michigan State. Because you saw that Nick Marsh just committed to Indiana last night.
Mm-hmm.
Kylan Wilson from Youngstown State, wide receiver that we're looking at, and also Demir Minka from Shepherd University, which is a D2. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these are the targets to look out for to maybe see that we're at least in the running for them these next few days.
Yeah, and I mean that's not the only additions we've had. I mean, I tweeted this too. Finally, Iowa State is having special teams staff. We have a whole staff for special teams.
It's about damn time, man. It's been long overdue.
I know that's been one of the biggest things. Like the biggest issues I've had with Cyclone football under the Campbell regime is just the inexplicable special teams blunders that we've had. I mean, we saw it like the past few years. I mean, we even saw it last year when like we just could not go. Like it felt like we couldn't go a game without at least one special teams blunder in terms of like punt returning, where like guys are way too close to the ball, it bounces off of them, and you basically give the opponent a free like first down, like free possession. So it's nice to see we're finally taking some direction into fixing those issues. So it's really nice to see. And taking a look at like the additions. So the Rob Grande will be the special teams coordinator. He's been he's worked like he's a guy who's been here like he's
I'm
been
sorry,
on the
Cody.
team,
We have some
Iowa State special
technical
teams since
difficulties
23.
today. I am so sorry
obviously
about
he's
that.
worked with Kyle Conradi and
We are
Flora.
working
Boy, that's gonna be
to
fun.
get this back to you.
That's gonna be fun.
The
like,
connection
and then
has
you
been
also
basically
add Ron
wonky
Pavlik,
the
as an
entire
assistant.
time.
He worked
I'm
alongside
gonna
Jimmy
try
Rogers at
and
Washington State and South Dakota State. And then you
reload
also
this
bring another assistant in
page.
Jason Studdard, who comes from the D2 ranks from Grand Valley State. So it's nice that we're actually taking some direction in terms of like special teams plays. But yeah, obviously when you have guys like Kyle Conradi and Aiden Flora returning, dear God, I don't know. If those guys can really cook, we may see like better special teams plays, and it'll be.
All right, yeah. So it looks like a whole bunch of stuff happened. So looks like I got to re-add uh Cody again. Oh, Cody, sorry about that.
Yeah,
I lost you.
yeah, I'm not sure. I literally got kicked mid sentence, but like basically, I was just say like it's a breath of fresh air that we have actually actually taking an approach to making special teams important, because that's something that's like underlooked, but like can really either hurt you or harm you, as we've seen obviously at Iowa State in years past.
Yeah, and now we're finally starting to see the vision that Jimmy Rogers has for this team, and it's a very, very smart one. Building the lines from the inside out, and then getting your skill players. I think now what we're starting to see is just trying to get their main guys on campus, at least get some weapons for the quarterback, and see how that happens, and then get guys that for depth purposes, and then I think that's how you fill out your roster.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And then on the other side of this, boy oh boy. I mean, I wasn't surprised seeing like the transfer portal giveth and the transfer portal taketh, and I think by like 95% of Iowa State fans were not surprised seeing the amount of players that went with Campbell to Penn State.
Yeah, that's one other thing I wanted to talk about. Did you see the comments that from Rocco
Oh,
that
oh,
really upset a lot of people? Let's dive into that real quick.
yeah, yep. All right, so I'm gonna try to pull up like the quotes. It's somewhere. Like this thing went trending. This was in all like a lot of Iowa State group chats. So this is the quote that Pete Tham like this is from Pete Thamel. So this is a quote. Uh, so this is kind of like the paraphrase like from the article. It says here that so this is what Rocco said. This said here we were listening to him talk yesterday and something about him changed. Beck said, and then it says here he's got the resources and people behind him and a program behind him to do what he wants to do, compete for a national championship, and that rubbed Iowa State fans the wrong way.
Yeah, I was just like, so the 2024 Big 12 championship didn't mean anything,
Or
like to where
even when Campbell went in 2020.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so they're acting like because we had lack of resources, we had lack of resources that we weren't gonna win. I'm like, but like literally, if we weren't injured by the injury bug, we
Mm-hmm.
probably would have won the Big 12 and made the playoff.
Yeah,
So I mean, that's a
and
whole bunch of baloney, bro.
and also Rocco's play like in October, you could tell like he wasn't the same quarterback, and that cost us. I know for sure it cost us the BYU game. It cost us the BYU game for sure. With that pick six after BYU had all the momentum, throws a pick six that iced the game, and then the inability to move the ball against Arizona State that cost us, and then the inexplicable excuse of Colorado. Like that whole stretch of October was inexcusable, and I mean part of the blame has to be on Rocco just with the way he played, and you could tell he wasn't the same quarterback. But yeah, it is kind of like it does feel a bit insulting when like you do like say you don't have the resources. And here's the thing, I will say, Penn State's they have a lot more resources. Obviously, they're gonna have way more money. They're gonna have more like more personnel and like all those resources behind them. There's no
Hmm.
doubt. But that doesn't mean that Iowa State didn't have the resources to at least like get you a chance to compete. I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, we were just one game away from going to the college football playoff when we were in the Big 12 title game against Arizona State. And
Exactly.
so it just rubbed a lot of Iowa State fans the wrong way when that like came out.
Yes. All right. We are we have a proposition from a fan um for a possible non-con. Um, so we are gonna have him come on and join us, and then we're gonna have him give his proposition. So we are. I just sent him the link, so he should be jumping in at any second.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're waiting for him, but like we'll also just bring it up. Obviously,
Yep.
there was in the group chats that we're in, um, there was just a everybody likes to make up like graphics and stuff. Um, so there was a thing called a whiteout series. So basically, a little mini series between Penn State and Iowa State, to where it's a home and home, maybe something that we could maybe cook up in 2028 and 2029, or maybe in 2027 and 2028,
Mm-hmm.
to where both games would be whiteout games. One would be in Ames, one would be in Happy Valley.
Right.
Um, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
That would certainly. I mean, it's bold to say like 2020 29 we would have those like opportunities, but I mean that would be kind of like I mean that's like one of the things that I think Big 12 as a whole like was kind of missing is like those like marquee non-con games, and this could be like a pretty interesting one for Iowa State, obviously, because the Big 12 like you don't really have as many of those like marquee non-con games. So,
Right.
and, hello, hello,
Hey,
welcome,
Nick, welcome, welcome.
Howdy, thank you for having me.
of course. So, Nick, kind of like talk to us like through like what was like kind of like the thought process of this like whiteout series. Like, what kind of like led you to kind of make this proposition?
Yeah, so I guess one thing that I kind of wonder is um how Iowa State fans would react to Campbell coming back to Ames as the away team. Uh, After I put it out on Twitter, it seemed like I got mixed reviews, and basically what can be organized is three groups of fans. There's one group of fans who's like, absolutely, like, let's do it. They probably think Campbell's a traitor. There's another group who's like, no, absolutely not, don't do it. And then I also feel like there's a very small, like, third group who would almost be, like, happy to have him come back. Almost like, you kind of know when Tom Brady came back to Foxborough as a Buck.
Yep.
It could almost make some fans might react that way about it. I think about it, especially like with the whiteout series, that could make it even more fun. Kind of, I guess, it puts a little ring on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting to think about. And the other thing outside of the Campbell story is that, with the CFP, having their clear power too on when it comes to picking, I guess, teams for the 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
The Big 12 needs to, we need to close the gap on, the SEC and the Big 10, and the easiest way that we can do that is to beat the teams in those conferences. So I know having a second Big 10 team in the non-con could seem rather weird to some fans. I think if we were going to do it, Penn State might be at least the most intriguing opponent to do it with.
I'm in agreement. I just think really the question that we really need to be asking is would the Big Ten even be willing to do that? Because like now that this is what I think aren't they going to be going to 9 conference games as well at some point?
The Big Ten has been 9
Yeah.
conference
okay,
games.
that's
It's
SEC.
the
My
SEC
bad.
who's going to 9.
And the ACC.
Right. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like with this, for the Big Ten is like how like some like these teams like would like kind of like swap out like these marquee opponents because like there's the thought process that like this wouldn't do anything for them because like it like they lose like this game, then they could be knocked out of like playoff contention and they would have issue with it. I mean, we literally just saw it this year with Texas fans. They were like making a storm obviously about playing Ohio State, and even Steve Sarkisian came out saying, why would we even play this game if it does nothing for us? So you could have that kind of thing happen with like this, but I think for the Big 12 you honestly want this because obviously you want to be able to prove that you can compete and win against these type of teams, and being able to do it in the regular season, I think to me is probably the most important thing. It's like that's probably like, so I would love for this to happen. I don't know if like the Penn State like people like the community like the fans or the administrators would want this, but this would be a pretty like cool thing to do.
I would tell you that a whiteout at Happy Valley, initially my guess is Penn State probably wins that one.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The whiteout at Jack Trice, at least from like a fan perspective, that would probably be the most raucous environment that Jack Trice Stadium has ever had, at least in the post-COVID era.
Yeah. I think giving Penn State the first matchup at home, I think that could intrigue because it's kind of like I think it was like kind of the same situation with like BYU and Notre Dame when they're doing their home and home games. So and then giving Penn State the first game, it's like okay, you give them that, but like we get to host like Iowa State gets to host the second one. So I mean, if this was to be done, this would have to probably like the things would probably have to start like working on like I don't know, maybe laying out the paperwork like now or something to kind of get this proposal going. But yeah, I think I would get behind this because obviously you have the storylines of like Matt Campbell like going to Penn State and coming back in 2029 and just all that. But I mean, yeah, this would create a lot. And who knows? Yeah, somebody like you mentioned probably like the revenue. There you go.
Right.
You get ratings.
I would much rather have a home and home series with Penn State than Bowling Green, who we do have a home and home series with in 2026 and 27.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, no, I have to believe what you're proposing would take place instead of Tulane, right?
Yeah, if it were to be that early,
Right.
which to be able to do it that early with managing logistics, and you also have to have Tulane on board with canceling that home and home, which probably ain't happening.
Oh no.
Mm-mm.
It'd probably be something that happens in 2030 or 31 at the earliest.
And I'd be down for that if it's in the 2030s. I'd wait, and I'd be down to wait till 2030s and build that up, because
Mm-hmm.
by that time it'll be another round of realignment and things like that.
Oh
So
yeah.
um,
TV deals like
TV deals and all that will re-up. So if
Yeah,
you start making these little partnerships or different series with other teams,
right, and
I'm totally be down.
It gives Jimmy a little bit more time to kind of get the foundation fully built for the
Yeah,
program. If you do
yeah,
it in 28 and 29, you're kind of pushing him
mhm.
right.
on that.
Well, yeah, I appreciate this. Nick, thank you for your time, man.
But
Yep. Thank you.
you guys take care.
All right, you
Yep.
too.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, Cody, that was a great fan interaction. I think that's something that we probably should add to the show. Um, hearing from the fan base is always a good thing. But
Hmm.
I really do like that proposal of maybe adding that game, maybe not in 28 and 29. That's probably going to be impossible, but definitely in the 2030s, or maybe 2031, 2032, when the new TV deals are up and there's another round of realignment.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I do have concern is like, and like this is Iowa State's control. Does Matt Campbell even make it to 20? To make it to those?
Right.
Imagine like you schedule it, but then Matt Campbell doesn't even make it. So it's like, well, it's not the same. It doesn't hit the same. But like, hey, I guess you still have the game even without it. It's like, oh well, we'll still take it. Fair enough.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, just the dude. Yeah, the thought of like just the whiteout, yeah, obviously the whiteout series, like that'd be like fun because like, and then just the propositions, just the the perspectives of, like actually making like Penn State whiteout the whiteout jerseys. It's like, yep, just the funny like an alternate uniform. Penn State goes like all black and white.
No, that would be the funniest thing. That would be the funny. It would all come full circle.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I mean Penn State, dear God, they have like I don't know, like I put this out there and like I put this tweet out as like a joke. It's like take a drink for every Iowa State player that committed to Penn State.
I swear, it's like over under 40.
I think it was at 17 or 18
Good lord.
or maybe 16. I don't know. Like the counter is like we know it's like getting close to the 20. So it feels like just the entire roster. But, I mean, a couple guys haven't gone. They aren't going to Penn State. I mean, John Tess Williams is going to USC.
Very, very good landing spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
Happy for him. And then I saw that Marco Chapman, I think, was at Eastern Kentucky today. So, like, he's going to be going down a level.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Let's just do a little bit of scouting on the Penn State page. Let me just see how many people, like, they've announced. Wait a minute. Let's see here. Just trying to see who like they've added because I know they've added a lot of people. Like, I mean, added some guys and then, but yeah. But I mean, I guess maybe like the prospective thing of like Penn State's like outlook. I don't know if we can just hit on this real quick. But like,
well, what was your question? I'm sorry.
It's like, how, like, do you, like, if this, like, how do you think, like, initially, like, this would, like, work out? Because, like, how do you think this would, like, kind of, like, your reaction after seeing, like, all the guys going there, and do you think this could work out?
It could. I mean, if you look at their schedule, they have a very, very favorable schedule. Let's see, if you want to take a look at that real quick. I'm a put it up and then, or if you can find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, they have a very favorable schedule next year,
Yeah.
which I don't think it has Michigan or Ohio State on it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, we've talked about it a bit, before, but yeah. So their schedule, like, their non-con is Marshall, Temple, and Buffalo.
So
So
they
that's-
should be able to at least start 3-0.
Yep, and then they are at Maryland, at Michigan, and at Northwestern, and then at Washington. And then they get home games against Minnesota, Purdue, Rutgers, USC, and Wisconsin.
So I guess it's if you're a believer in like we saw what this roster did last year with our schedule, and they went 8-4. I guess the difference is that now you're with a Matt Campbell who has a lot more much more resources at his disposal. I guess for you as a fan is, do you believe that they're going to be that much better? Because dude, we've seen this team the last 3 years. So I mean, do you think that they're gonna like take that step?
I mean, I think my floor, like looking at this, I could see losses at Michigan and at Washington. Those are the two that make sense. That
I
makes the
can
most
say,
sense.
yeah, I see at least 10-2.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
Maybe somehow was I don't know. Yeah, I feel like outside of Michigan, Washington, these games are winnable. So if you're a year one Matt Campbell, like you should like I would like if I was in a Penn State's fans perspective and I understand the context of Matt Campbell, I would expect 10-2 the first year.
At least 10-2, yeah.
Yeah, and Campbell does have to understand it too. Like you're going into you have a lot more resources. You're expected to win more, and that's just what kind of like goes with it. And so does your roster.
Right, exactly. And then it goes into you have Mansky in the fold right after that, after Rocco. So I mean, then you go into all those recruits and stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see from afar. I probably will be hate watching them, of course.
Oh yeah, I put my memes out. I put two memes out like saying I'm hate watching, dude. I literally said one of them is like I'm about to be as big of a hater as Drew McIntyre is to CM Punk.
Facts, bro.
Yeah,
that is going to be me. All right, guys, we were long-winded today, but thank you guys for continuing to stay tuned in. We thank you for your guys' support. A few things before we go. A big thank you to FanDuel for being our presenting sponsor. Be sure to be on there this upcoming weekend for Super Wildcard Weekend. The playoffs are here, so make sure you go and if you know ball, go and make money with FanDuel.
Yep.
And you can find me, Tyler, on Twitter if you want to talk ball or talk about anything. You can find me at SciTi Guy. You can find Cody on Twitter at Tierney's Burner. And if you want to find us on social media, well, first, if you are a Twitch watcher, thank you for joining us live on Twitch. The Twitch handle is at Bleav in ISU 2025, BLEAV in ISU 2025. We can also be found on 5 other forms. We have YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So we can find us all there. Make sure to visit the TikTok and YouTube pages for our video content, for our shorts and our TikToks. Those are both blowing up right now. We're continuing to get subscribers by the day. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. For Tyler Carter.
And for Cody Manciolo.
This is the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
Go Cyclones.